Okay, that's the other notice, right?
Oh, and we also have to have an urban renewal plan joint agreement with the City of Eagle Grove and City Administrator Mike Boyd. That was signed by the City Council.
The urban renewal agreement.
Yep. That allows us to go within 2 miles of the city limits of Eagle Grove.
I don't know if we've had that before the council. That'll be on next Monday.
Mike, I think we passed that
Yeah.
last week.
Did we?
Yeah.
I guess I don't have it.
That was about a month ago, I believe. We've also had to have since before the parcel was zoned industrial, since it is agriculture based on state law, we have to have an agreement signed by the landowner. That has been signed and has been presented, and I believe the auditor has that in her file. So what that says is that the landowner is okay with being put inside of an urban renewal plan.
Okay. Well, we do have a lot of documents here to go over, and we'll work through those as we go if there are questions. And then Bryce, what we have is we've got all the legal obligations that are required have been met before today's hearing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I have, is that all, Bryce? Or do you have anything else? Okay. Okay. It's 9:15, so we'll call the hearing open for the public hearing on the designation of the 2014 Wright County Agribusiness Urban Renewal Area. And I might just add before it starts, you know, when you see it called urban renewal, you wonder because it's out in the country. But in the just as you know, some background on this. In order to facilitate the use of urban renewal for economic development in 1985, the Iowa General Assembly amended Chapter 403 to authorize boards of supervisors to create economic development areas, which is really what we have here, under this name of urban renewal. And the economic development urban renewal area may be an area of the county which has been designated by the Board of Supervisors as an area which is appropriate for commercial, industrial, and/or residential housing enterprises in which the county seeks to encourage further development. So just a little background on that because there's some of that. The other thing is, on this hearing today, since it really only affects Wright County taxpayers or landowners, that's primarily who we'd like to hear from. And I asked the county attorney about that. Eric, do you have any comment on that, of having this hearing just be, the only people that could speak would be Wright County taxpayers or landowners?
There's only a few.
We just have a few on these that are in adjacent counties too, so.
There would not be a problem with that. If you wanted to amend those rules you previously passed, the resolution to create the certain ground rules when it came to these hearings. So as long as you want to make that change to those original ground rules, I think you can do that.
Okay. We only have 6 in adjacent counties, is that it? Okay. What's the board want to do? Do you want to amend the rules to allow the adjacent counties to speak today? Okay, is that a motion?
I'll make motion.
Second it. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, the motion's carried. So we will allow adjacent counties to speak today. But first of all, to follow our rules, we'd like to have Wright County speakers only. And so let's go through that list. Betty, who do we have to start with?
James Bird, and then second will be Kathy Schnell, and then Mary Louise Burt.
Okay. James? James, could you tell us your name and where you're from?
I'm James Bird. I'm from Belmont, Iowa.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time and your attention. After attending a few meetings and studying the facts and opinions presented by others in this board, I am still against this project because of the financial package, potential pollution, and excessive water use. Tax breaks to me and subsidies, if you're a true conservative business owner, are unfair to the taxpayer overall. Furthermore, the water usage by this project would be a drain on the already depleting aquifer and a potential to cause problems in the future. In Iowa, we are famous and probably first in the nation for hog production, or pork production, soybean production, and corn production. However, these first come with a price. We have also become infamous in our production of nitrite pollution. And we are also infamous in the state for having the world's largest nitrite removal system here in Iowa. When are we, as Iowans, going to say enough is enough and stop flirting with a negative future that I would hope that nobody wants? Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you, James.
Kathy Chanel will be up next, then Mary Louise Burt, and then Luann Krabby.
Okay. Kathy?
Good morning. My name is Kathy Schnell. I live in Belmont. I first would like to take issue with the fact that you do not seem to be considering the emails that are being sent to you by anybody. I know a lot of people that have sent emails, and the only correspondence that you're reading are letters. If emails are not a valid way of contacting you, I'd like to know why you have it on your website, why you have your email addresses there. I think that that's misleading. So, anyway, that's the first thing that I take issue with. The other thing is that I'm here today to oppose the establishing of this slaughterhouse by Prestage in my county. I want you to vote no and reject the proposal, even if it meant great jobs with great benefits for our Wright County residents. Even if they could guarantee that it won't stink, that it won't foul the water or the air or the soil, even if you could guarantee that this company would not be a budget buster for the public school system or a burden to our local charities and church, I would still ask you to vote no. Because it seems to me that our nation's fourth or fifth, largest pork producer should be able to afford its own factory without all the fringe benefits that we seem to be handing over to them. $8 million of our hard-earned tax money. I run a bed and breakfast, and it takes a lot of laundry, a lot of beds changed, a lot of being really pleasant to people early in the morning to pay my share of that $8 million.
Okay. Thank you. Just to clear that up a little bit, Kathy, the property tax would be coming from the Prestige project. It wouldn't be coming from the general fund of the county at all, is that right? And so, just so you're clear on that, is that people at Galt, where I live, Belmont, Clarion, their property taxes are not going to go to any of these incentives that we're talking about here, just so you know that. It's going to come from Prestige, and that's the route that it goes. Just so I want to be clear on that with everyone, because you hear this a lot, and and you're right though, it is tax money, but it is one company's money being used for this. One company. Okay. And so I have down the water situation too, and that's, as we stated before, a DNR issue, because they have to be scientists that determine that water usage, and that's above anybody's pay level here in this table, I think. And so Kathy, that's where we're coming from on that. So just where that's going to be decided. So.
Would you like to speak to the email issue, since you're speaking to the other issues that I bring up?
Yes. Every hearing, and I always go back to our drainage hearings because we have those all the time, but we really like a letter with a signature, and maybe our auditor could express that a little better, but that we have an actual signature means it came from an actual person. And that's the old law. I don't know whether it'll change or not, but I agree with the rest of the mind.
Is that a law?
It's not in the Code of Iowa, no. But what it is that
A way we're doing business, I guess.
if anybody can get on somebody else's computer and write a letter. So with having a signature, this person sent it, they stuck it in an envelope, and they
It's not
mailed it.
notarized. You don't know for sure that they signed it themselves. And you have on your website each one of your email addresses as if this is a bona fide, valid way to contact each one of our representatives.
Right, and a lot of those are questions that come to the supervisors, you know, I think we've all tried to answer, and so, these are just the way, I guess, Eric, the way we've done it with hearings in the past, it's just take this letter with a signature on it, and.
Yeah, I think that's been our normal procedure, Stan. Generally speaking, the reasons behind that are when you receive a letter through the mail, if someone is going to be providing that falsely, they are looking at potentially committing mail fraud by using the U.S. mail for that purpose. With our kind of standard practice has been, because of that kind of guarantee, or at least that additional protection when it comes to the identity of someone, providing information to the board, that letters are the normal method to do that.
Right.
Email, as the auditor suggested, often can be used by anyone setting up any kind of account, so we have some difficulty in being able to establish the identity of the individuals involved in that. I think, as I understand it, the board had made it reasonably clear through the process established for this particular hearing that we're expecting that any kind of commentary coming in written form would come through mail or otherwise at this hearing itself, where people have identified themselves and provide written comments as well.
That if we run out of time, they can submit written comments.
Correct.
So, okay. But that's the background on it, so.
Are you going to make that clear on your website then?
I have it down on the list here, so we'll take that under advisement.
I think if we're talking legal forms, then email is not a valid way of communicating. This is just people's opinions, they're speaking from their heart, they just want to be heard.
Right.
I don't think it's unreasonable to expect you to take those into consideration. And you can print them out and you can read them here just as easily. And if you have a question on who somebody is, you can confirm, like, hey, Jim, was this your email? Did you send this? We received it from you, and he can identify himself here.
Right.
So there are ways of taking those into consideration.
Okay, we'll take that in consultation with the county attorney. Thank you. Who's next, Betty?
Mary Louise Burt, and then we'll have Luann Krabby and Gary Woodley.
And remember today, folks, we are talking about the urban renewal area, and the board really likes your input on exactly what you think of the documents and the idea put forth today. So, Mary Louise, go right ahead.
Well, this, the comments I'm wanting to make have to do with a 4-part expose that the Chicago Tribune has printed in the last week on the cheap meat coming at a high cost in Illinois, the price of pork. And just, I thought I'd just go over a few of the high points that this article covers. And very much Illinois is experiencing the same conditions that Iowa is, which are lax laws on pork production or egg business. And that the pork producers are repeatedly exploiting weak Illinois laws to build and expand massive facilities. The Department of Agriculture, which is charged with promoting livestock production as well as regulating it, often brushed aside opposition from local officials to issue about 900 swine confinement permits in the last 20 years. The Tribune also found that the growth of these confinements has created a persistent new environmental hazard. Pig waste is flowing into rural waterways from leaks and spills, destroyed more than 490,000 fish in 67 miles of rivers over a 10-year span. No other industry comes close to causing that amount of damage. The Tribune found many operators faced only minor consequences, and some multi-million-dollar confinements paid small penalties while polluting repeatedly. Illinois also does little to investigate allegations of animal cruelty submitted by whistleblowing employees. There are many loopholes in Illinois law that promote the growth of industrial hog confinements. Well, anyway, to summarize,
10 seconds, Mary Louise.
weak laws such as Iowa's are going to allow this slaughterhouse in. And I think we should reject it. And it's not going to be a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next, Betty?